Adam Wilber here. We're here with the AMA. I appreciate you guys asking your questions. I'm going to do my best to get through as many as possible. There's some funny ones, there's some genuine ones, and there are some raunchy ones. So let's dig right in. We got Oban Jones here. He's going to be spitting out some questions, and then Lloyd is behind the camera doing his best to make me laugh throughout this. So we'll see how far I can get without cracking up at Lloyd. Let's do it.
Okay. Question 1. How many push-ups can you do?
First question is, how many push-ups can I do? That's a good question. I've been working out pretty heavily as of the last few months, so I could probably bang out 50. I'm going to say 50 push-ups before I started shaking like a leaf.
We will test you on that at the end of the year.
I already worked out this morning. It's unfair. It's unfair.
Who is the most influential magician that inspired you?
Lloyd Barnes. In my entire career of magic, probably Bill Malone. Bill Malone is, in my opinion, the perfect magician. Just unbelievable sleight of hand magic, humor, and a personality that nobody else can do except him. So if I had to list it, it would be Bill Malone. Second, followed closely by David Williamson. Oh my God, if you guys could see what was happening behind this camera right now. Sorry.
It's quite an interesting one. Many magicians today are not into fashion. How important is it to wear fashionable clothes when you're a magician?
Good question. So the importance of fashion for your career in magic, I think that it is important. I'm not a really fashionable guy. Most of the clothes that I wear are either picked out from Brad himself or somebody else. So I can say I understand the importance of fashion, of making sure that you look good, that you look like the money you're charging. So I would say, while I might have argued this in the past, I do think fashion is important. It's your character, it's your brand, and if they're paying a lot of money for your services, then you should play the part. So I do believe it has a pretty important role.
Okay. With the Keeper's deck, what colour would you never make one of? And what's the colour you really want to use?
Color I would never make would probably be, that's tough. I mean, I don't see a color I wouldn't like. Maybe like a gray, like a muted gray. And the color that I would love to see come out would probably be a dark purple, a really dark purple. Perfect. We've got the man to make that happen right here.
Okay. Do your kids love magic as much as you do?
I think so. My kids practice magic and they like seeing me perform magic, especially at their school and things like that. So I don't know if they like it as much as me because I'm not quite sure that would be possible, but they do have the love for it for sure.
Has there ever been a time when you've drifted from magic, where you've lost interest in it? And if so, how did you come back?
Sure. Yeah. Times I've drifted from magic are few and far between, but it has happened. There's just times in life when I got busy with other things and I put magic aside. And the way I got back was just sort of the organic fall back into it. I would have a deck there, I'd pick it up, or I'd show somebody a trick at a party. But yeah, I've fallen in and out of magic and in and out of my love of magic many times. And I think it's just about taking a break, which can be hard if you make your living from it. But, I think it's an ebb and flow for everybody.
All right, okay, here's a good one. What's your favorite magic product that you've ever released?
My personal favorite magic product? So my favorite magic product I've ever released is probably Decibel. Worker's Show to Go hasn't been released, so technically I can't say that, but hands down, Worker's Show to Go is what I'm most proud of, without question. Since it's not released, I'm going to say Decibel, and Decibel because that was such a creative challenge to bring that to fruition, that when it actually worked and it came to life, it was a pretty incredible feeling of that truly anything is possible. So Decibel, and soon Worker's Show to Go.
Nice short one. Are you rich?
Absolutely not. So if you wanted to set up a GoFundMe or something like that for me, I would love, by all means, please. I can use every bit of help that I've got. Got 2 children. I've got a mortgage. I've got a serious, serious addiction to crack cocaine. So not really. I don't have a mortgage. No, I am not rich. I am rich in love and in life, but not in money.
At what age did you start magic?
I started magic when I was 6 years old. Friend showed me the silk vanish, and that was it. I was done.
Really young.
6 years old, yep. Yep.
So it is a lifelong.
31 years I've been doing magic, yeah. Yep.
Okay. What's your.
You're old.
And I'm old, yeah.
Real old.
I'm very, very old. I am a dinosaur.
What were the dinosaurs like?
They didn't understand double lifts with the little hooks and stuff. They couldn't get the fingers in there.
How do we know they were supposed to be called dinosaurs?
Next question.
What's the best advice on how to deal with hecklers?
The best advice on what to do for hecklers is to realize why they're heckling you. They're heckling you because they want attention. They see that you're getting the attention and they want a piece of that, so give it to them. And you can do that in many ways. You can do that as a friendly, let them be part of the joke or the trick, or you can give them a heckler killer. You can give them something that is going to shut them up. But I recommend getting them on your side. All they're trying to do is be the center of attention for a minute. So give them that, let them be the center of attention, make them the star of a magic trick. Normally people aren't heckling you because they don't like you. They're heckling you because there's something inside of them that they haven't dealt with. So just take it for what it is. It's not you, it's them wanting the attention that you're getting. So just keep being awesome. Give them a few seconds of attention and then move on.
That's great advice. That's really good. All right. Pushing off that onto another possible awkward gig moment. I don't know how this went for you, but what was your first official gig like?
First official paid gig was, it was actually pretty easy. It was a family thing. Friends of my family hired me to do their family reunion / party. And it was great. I got like $25 and I did magic for like 6 hours, probably way more than they wanted to see, but it was incredible. It was like someone giving me money to do what I would do for free. It was incredible.
Or how did you get your first gig that wasn't through a friends or family connection, and how did that go?
Well, so I would say a lot of my beginning gigs came from word of mouth, friend connections. The first gig that I got that was from direct marketing that I had done, I remember I built a website way back in the day, and that was when websites were just blogs. So I just had a buddy of mine help me with a website, and I'd early on started Google pay-per-click, and somebody had Googled magician in Vermont, had found my website, and I remember I thought it was the coolest feeling in the world, that the efforts that I could market my services and somebody would find it and pay me, it was awesome. So that was probably in college, and I might have charged $100 for a couple hours of walk around or something. It was just the experience of outward marketing landing me a gig was really, really awesome. It was a cool feeling.
How many magicians would it take to give Lloyd Barnes a full beard?
How many magicians would it take to give Lloyd Barnes a full beard? I'm not sure there's enough magicians on the planet for that. I mean, I think we've been trying that for years. He's just too boyish. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I like to think of myself as slick like a wrestler.
It's for his aerodynamics. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I can't do backflips because I'm too hairy, and Lloyd does them like no problem. So a chubby gymnast, yeah.
I'm just shorter than usual.
All right, question completely outside the realms of magic. It's more a personal taste thing, but what's your favorite movie or TV show right now? Like, what are you watching?
The Greatest Showman was pretty incredible as far as a movie. That's right up there. And a show that I've just been turned on to that I've been in love with was Ozark. Ozark's phenomenal.
What would you be doing if you weren't doing magic?
If I wasn't doing magic, I would be doing I mean, what I am doing now is keynote speaking and facilitating workshops for creative thinking and creative problem solving.
So how do you go about coming up with creative ideas? What's your process?
There's a lot. So if it depends on the situation. If the creative idea is, for instance, develop a magic trick, then I start pretty basically with what would I love to have happen. So in a perfect world, there were no rules. What would I love to see happen? So for instance, I might say, I would genuinely love to be able to stand in front of your shoe and then have it jump onto your foot automatically. So that's your starting point. And then the brainstorming is going to be eliminating all of the things that aren't possible and coming up with any and all ideas. So for instance, an idea might be it's on a very strong pull, and that pull is attached to your ankle, but the back of the shoe is open. So from the front, it looks like there's a shoe, and then it just sucks onto your foot. So you start brainstorming these ideas, as lofty as they may be, and write every single one of them down. I write them on Post-it notes, and I stick all the Post-it notes on a board, and then work backward from that. Take the idea and figure out everything that could go wrong with it or everything that makes it impossible. And then it's a filter process, right? You're going to start prototyping these things out until you get to a point where the prototype doesn't work, or the prototype leads you into a different creative process, a different idea, it sparks something new. And then if you get to a roadblock in that development, I get to call some of the most creative people I've ever met, the team here at E, and just say, hey, here's the problem, here's the challenge, how do we solve it? So that would be developing a product, but every problem has its own creative solution, and you don't get to them the same way. For instance, if we said, how do we make twice as much revenue as a company this year, that's going to be approached differently than it would be to say, let's develop a product. So it's situational depending on the challenge at hand, but most of the time it's pretty simple. It's decide and be very, very clear of what the problem is. If you're unclear of the problem, you won't come up with the solution. So with the trick, it's very easy. What's the problem? Make a shoe jump to my foot. With something like how do we double revenue as a company, we don't know what that problem really is. You have to finite that problem, because you can't just say twice as much money. You can say, where are we lacking? Is it that we don't have a large enough audience base? Is it that we don't have enough product? Are we not charging enough? So every creative challenge has a different solution, if that's not a cop-out kind of answer. All right. Yeah. I mean, you can't say, well, here's creative problem solving. You do this, 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 and this. I mean, there are overall rules, but every challenge is different. So it has to be. That's the beauty of creative thinking, is that there's no 2 + 2 = 4. And actually that type of thinking is what eliminates your creativity. Is this right or wrong, Exactly. Yeah, there is no solution. We have to develop it. So that's where the freeness comes from, which is what I enjoy about it.
Who, in your opinion, is a really underrated magician?
Who, in my opinion, is a really underrated magician? Simon Black. Yep, I think within a few years he's going to be. That's all I'll say. I think Simon Black is a very, and people know that he's talented and he's skilled, but I think he's a very underrated sleeper.
What's your biggest fear?
Something happening to one of my children.
Best advice for a beginner?
Best advice for a beginner is stay humbled through the process. Realize that once you get good enough that people think you're good, it's very easy to lose touch with yourself. Magic is not about us being good. And if it is, I think you're in it for the wrong reason. Magic's about a shared experience, a connection that you can't make with anything else. And you will be told you're the best I've ever seen, you're incredible. Don't let it go to your head, especially when you start getting a little bit of fame or notoriety. I think everybody, myself included, has to keep that in check. We're magicians. We're not brain surgeons. We're not curing cancer. We are sharing moments of astonishment, moments of wonder, and we're allowing people for a small period of time to understand that the world as we know it might not be so. And that's a beautiful thing, but that's a shared experience. And if you can't understand that the magic is about that, get into something else. If you want to be famous, if you want to be the cool guy, learn to play guitar. Lots of magicians fall into the trap of ego, especially as they get bigger and their numbers get bigger or their name in the community gets bigger. Just try and stay humble. And I can take that advice myself. So I'm not trying to preach. I'm probably speaking from experience here.
Sort of touching on that point of getting out there and becoming famous. Somebody's asked, number one bit of advice for getting noticed as a young magician?
Number one piece of advice for getting noticed. My approach is develop products. I have friends that take a different approach. Be very good with a camera and make interesting videos. So I think it's whatever. That's a tough question. Whatever it is that whatever is going to add value to people's lives will get you noticed faster. So I truly believe that once you find whatever it is that you can serve others in this world with, that's when you'll become famous. That's when you'll become successful. It's not about self-serving. So some people may say, well, what about these guys that make videos and all it is the videos of them looking really cool and they get super popular? Well, you have to keep in mind those videos make other people feel good. That's why they watch them. So if me looking really cool, making vlogs or making Instagram stories and it's, oh, this guy's just showing off. Well, the reality is people are watching that for whatever reason. They're watching it for the entertainment value. If you're developing really beautiful products that magicians can buy and go use and better their careers, you're going to get noticed. So whatever you can do that isn't about, look at how good I am, but how can I add value to your life, that's what's going to get you noticed the fastest, I believe. But I'm not probably the one to ask that. I'm not, I have somewhat of a following, but mainly because of the products I've released. So I would have to say, invent things that make people's lives better in some way or form.
I suppose that kind of touches on the idea of finding your niche, like focusing, like you focus on products and that's why you've excelled at products, because you haven't spread yourself too thin.
And I know what I'm good at and not good at. I know I'm not good at videoing. I'm not good at, look at my videos on Instagram. They're webcam because I've tried to learn the concepts of cinematography and that's not what I'm good at. So why don't I just create cool looking magic and let that be the focal point,
So we've been tearing around on quad bikes for the last couple of days and having a killer time, but you've got a motorcycle back home?
Yep.
What kind of motorcycle do you have and where do you like to ride?
I just have I've had motorcycles my whole life. This one is just a little V-twin 800, I think. It's a little Yamaha grocery getter. It's nothing special, but it is all I need. And where I live in New Hampshire are some of the most beautiful motorcycle roads on the planet. It's curvy roads that go on for days with nothing but beautiful scenery and trees. So, I'll get my Harley. The question earlier was, am I rich? I'm rich in experience and rich in love, but not rich monetarily. And once I get to that rich monetarily, then I'll buy a big V-Rod. That's my real dream bike is a Harley V-Rod. The all blacked out, smoked out edition, like one of these days. Buy a bunch of workers show to go and maybe I can get to there.
You get that gorgeous bike on those gorgeous roads.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, who has the best card sleight and beard? Madison, Ramsey, Spade, or Miller?
Who has the best card sleight and beard? So I guess the question is, who's the best at sleight of hand out of them?
Down into two categories.
Who has the best beard? Who has the best beard between all of them? I'll go Ramsey on that one. He's pretty adamant about his beard. Madison's is pretty epic too. And then best sleight of hand? Come on, I don't know. They're all good. What do you say? Justin is a I've said this for years. Justin's one of the best performing close-up magicians I've ever seen. You can't argue with any of the guys' sleight of hand. So I'm not, who has the best? I don't know. Adam Wilber has the best. That's who. There's the beard.
I was just about to say that was very diplomatic.
Yeah, how do you say that? Who does the best bottom deal? I think Madison probably does the best bottom deal. Who does the best rise? Xavier does the best raise, I'd say the hardest sleight, who does the best? Probably Xavier. Some of the sleights he does, they're just on a level that I can't even fathom. So if I have to answer, Xavier has the best sleight of hand, and Ramsey has the best beard. There you go.
Cool. Madison is never talking to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Daniel. He knows I love it. Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite gimmick? / what's the gimmick that you always bring? They might not be the same.
Oh, good question. My favorite gimmick, a shell, a coin shell. And that's the same one that I always bring. Yeah, simple.
Okay, favorite pass?
Favorite classic pass.
All day.
Yep. Turnover pass is pretty epic too. If you get a really good turnover pass, that can look like real magic.
You should learn it one day.
I will. One of these days I'm going to learn it. That's funny.
Okay, favorite trick?
Favorite all-time trick? That's a good question. Favorite all-time trick?
It's like asking a musician's favorite song.
Or what's your favorite note, even?
Yeah.
Currently, what is my favorite trick? Currently, well, you know what? My favorite trick is probably mental photography. I would say that's it, mental photo. It's just the idea of it adds sleight of hand. It's super visual. You don't need language to understand it. A deck goes from blank to printed. It's a good trick. And I do it every time I perform paid, I do that trick and have for the last 10 years. So that's got to be that. I mean, I could say ambitious card because it's the same thing, but if I had to pick one trick that I could do, it would probably be mental photo.
I like this one. How to be badass?
How to be, as soon as I figure it out, I promise I'll write a book on it, but I'm still working on figuring that out.
Going off these comments, it seems like a lot of people think you figured it out.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you, but I guess I've got a lot of people fooled. You fake it till you make it. There you go. That's the exact answer to that question. How to be badass. Fake it till you make it. And one of these days I'm going to make it.
How do you keep them calling for more gigs?
How do you keep the client calling for more gigs? First and foremost, do a great job. Over-deliver on their expectations. Follow up. Stay front of mind with them. So a great way to do that is to get some great photos of their friends reacting to the magic or their clients or whatever the event was, and send that to them as a thank you card. About a week later, say, hey, I had such a great time. Here's a couple photos if you want to share it around your office. So be genuine, over-deliver, and stay on the top of their mind without spamming them. An email once a month. Treat these people as your friends. Really treat them as your friends. What do you do with your friends? You call, you check on them. So that same mentality. If you want them to hire you again, you have to be great, you have to over-deliver, and then you have to remind them, hey, I'm great, and I over-deliver, and I'm still here. That would be my advice.
Do you have a favorite book for learning to get better at card magic?
My favorite magic book of all time is Paul Harris's Art of Astonishment set. I think if you learned half of the material in there, you could be a magician for the rest of your life. So it's not all card stuff, but Art of Astonishment by Paul Harris. If it's just cards, then Card College. Card College has everything you'll ever need.
Would you rather be Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan?
Bruce Lee. Easy.
Dead.
Ooh, well played. I guess I have to specify the question. Is this a dead Bruce Lee or an alive Jackie Chan?
It's today.
Well, then Jackie Chan, yeah. Yeah.
Why would you go on Fool Us with an effect that isn't yours instead of letting the creator do it and gain recognition?
Good question. So Fool Us contacted me before Clone was out, and I have 2 effects that I would have put out on Fool Us that were my own, and one of them I'm pretty confident would have fooled them for sure. The other one might not have, but I'm a creator of really genuinely commercial magic. Most of the magic I create isn't going to fool somebody. It's not why I create it. I create it because it's stuff that I'd want to do. So when Clone came about, JC and I had many conversations, and the idea that I can go on Fool Us with my own trick that we won't sell and market, because what I was going to do on there is extremely impractical. It really would have only worked for that show, and it might have fooled them. I work for a company that sells, markets, and delivers magic tricks. So I could go on with my own piece of magic, potentially fool them, and that would be the end of it. Or I could go on with a piece that we were getting ready to market and sell, highlight that piece in front of millions of people, and then have it on the site ready for market. You do the math. I mean, if the question is, did I take it out from under JC and do it so he couldn't and lose the recognition? Well, that's a silly question. Of course I didn't. 6 million people have seen this, and the first link under it is a link to the product page, where you're going to see who created this first and foremost. And secondly, JC and I had many conversations, and he was ecstatic and over the moon about the idea of me going on, taking his product, but putting my presentation and my spin on it. So multiple reasons. One, first and foremost, because we're a company that sells magic, this was about to be released, and what better platform to release something than fool us. Secondly, most of the magic I create is commercial magic. It's not going to fool Penn and Teller. And the 2 items that I had that would have fooled them, they would have never been used again. They're not practical. So a whole bunch of reasons is why I went on with JC's clone and performed it on Fool Us.
How does it feel to never be as skilled with cards as Jabrizi?
You know, it's a funny question, but Jabrizi's doing his thing. He's a friend of mine. I like Jabrizi. Love him or hate him, that's your opinion, and I have mine of him. So I do believe I am skilled with a deck of cards, and I'm not going to compare myself to as if, am I as skilled as Jabrizi? You guys be the judge of that. But if you're comparing magicians to magicians, then you're wasting your time. You should be focusing on your own magic and your own career, not comparing others.
So another question, sparking unnecessary conflict. Who considers themselves the best magician at Ellusionist?
Who considers themselves the best magician at Ellusionist? I think everybody knows I'm the best magician at Ellusionist. I mean, is that even really a... But in all honesty, G. Clark just thinks he... No. I mean, there isn't that sort of animosity. You know, we all excel at different things. G's the best cardist. You know, Lloyd is probably the best creator. I'm obviously the best looking. Okay. Lloyd is the best looking, and we all know I'm the best creator.
You were the best magician of the company. No questions asked. Simple as that.
Well, thank you, but
It's done.
again, it's the whole. That's comparing. Like you can't compare. That's like saying who's better, the Beatles or Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
It's your taste, right? Your taste is Bob. Yeah, actually, the correct answer is Bob Marley, but it's a taste thing, right? It's who do you prefer?
If you actually are a better magician, you can do everything. Performing well.
Dwayne too, though.
Oh yeah, Dwayne's sick.
I mean, Dwayne. Yeah, we're all fucking great.
Except for Owen, he's a shit magician.
I did a magic yesterday.
I did a magic.
Is tomato a fruit or a vegetable?
What is it? Is it a fruit or a vegetable? It's a fruit, isn't it? A tomato is a fruit.
Say it with more authority.
Yeah. Tomato's a fruit. Yeah, thank you. Yo, Google that. I was like, Google that real quick.
How do you go about sculpting a show into a fluid series of tricks?
It's a great question and a very hard question. That's the idea of what we tried to do with Worker Show to Go here. It is thinking of telling a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. You need them emotionally engaged the entire time. And there's a lot of tricks that you have to implement to make that happen. You can't just go out there and be great and expect them to care. People don't care about greatness. People care about emotions. A good song emotionally gets you. A good piece of art makes your emotions turn on. And that's what your show has to do. And emotions can be everything from fear to happiness. So if you can weave that together, Darren Brown is a master at that, of weaving in every kind of emotion you can imagine into a show. So what I would recommend is take Darren Brown, take David Williamson's, Bill Malone's, try and find them their full show and see what it is that they're doing in their show. And it's usually pretty uniform. They're going to start off strong, grab the attention, and then the rest of the show is going to be a ride, an emotional ride, where you're either fearful, you're happy, you're confused can be an emotion. So it's really about figuring out that way of not letting your audience's mind drift. And that's very hard in today's world. We have about a 6-second attention span. So how would you hold your audience every 6 seconds? What movement are you doing? Word are you saying? Action are you taking? Piece of magic is happening every 6 seconds for your audience to care about what's happening on stage. And if you can figure that out, then you've got your show. And that's very, very much easier said than done. So some great books out there. Strong Magic by Darwin Ortiz. Tommy Wonder has some great books on it. Just studying theater craft and what makes somebody want to pay attention to you. And it's not just going out there doing tricks. You know, you have to keep them every 6 seconds. Either they're laughing, they're on the edge of their seats, they're gasping, they're curious. It's not an easy thing. It's probably one of the hardest things about being a magician, is piecing together a show that flows. That's why the best in the world spend years and years developing their shows. You know, they don't just throw some tricks together and make it work. So it's about the ebb and flow of the emotional roller coaster. And if you can hold them on that every 6 to 10 seconds, then you're going to be in good shape. So that's it. That's the AMA. Thank you so much for your questions. I hope some of the answers are of value to you. And thank you, as always, for your support of Ellusionist. We work really hard to make sure that we can bring forth the best magic that we can for you. We love what we do, but it only works if it benefits your guys' magic in your lives. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. And as always, if you have any further questions or you want to follow my work, follow me on Instagram at Adam Wilber. Facebook is also just Adam Wilber. And thanks again. Talk to you guys soon.